Grounded to Clifton, over to Nitin. And the Young Guns of Oklahoma have won the national championship for the third time.
That was how it ended at Hall of Fame Stadium in Oklahoma City. Paige Parker hurled the Sooners to a 2-1 victory in the deciding game and left a sour taste in the mouths of the Auburn faithful. Today, Auburn gets another shot at the #1 ranked Sooners. Good afternoon and welcome to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for the College Challenge. Today we've got a rematch between your 2016 World Series champions and the runner-up Auburn Tigers. We've got a beautiful setting out here set right in the middle of Puerto Vallarta. And Garland, we've got a lot of new faces over in Auburn's dugout, but what can we expect to see from them today?
Well, we are going to see some new faces, but we're also going to see some very familiar faces. And it's hard to talk about Auburn without talking about Casey Cooper. Cooper, arguably the most feared hitter in the country. She was the SEC Player of the Year, a 3-time All-American. It will be crucial for Oklahoma to keep runners off the base and not give her a chance to knock in any runs. 21 home runs last year, 83 RBIs, and we talk a lot about her hitting because she is so powerful, but she can also get it done on the field. She's a leader for this team. She'll be the one to watch out for Auburn. And looking at the Sooners, as just a freshman, Shea Nitin led the team in batting average, in home runs, in RBIs, in slugging percentage. She was an All-American last year, and now she's a sophomore with a season of experience under her belt, a national championship. She is the one to watch in that Sooner lineup and will be a force to be reckoned with.
Our third crew member, Jessica Cootie, is on the sidelines. Jessica?
Thanks, Nicole. Devastated. That's how these Auburn Tigers felt on the night of June 8th, 2016. They could taste a national championship and felt like they let it slip away. And it's remembering the feeling from that night that has served as their motivation every single day over the last 8 months. Last season, Auburn had adopted the motto 3 more days after falling in the semifinals of the World Series in 2015. Victoria Draper joked that this year the motto is 3 more days and win. And if they didn't have enough motivation, she told me that knowing that Oklahoma was up first on the schedule provided a little more. As for the Sooners, this time a year ago, all they were hearing was that they were too young, that they had lost too much firepower in Lauren Chamberlain and Shelby Pinley. Nobody gave them much of a chance, and it was that doubt and the desire to prove wrong that pushed them all the way to the national title. Now, this season, they enter the season for the first time ever in program history as the preseason #1 ranked team. They received their national championship rings last Friday, but they want to keep the same approach in 2016 or in 2017 that they did in 2016. Leo Wodak said, "We still feel like we have to come out here every single day and prove ourselves." And guys, maybe nobody else thinks of them this way, but the Sooners kind of like that underdog feeling.
All right, thanks, Jessica. We've got great coach Clint Myers in his 4th season with Auburn after a short time at ASU where he won 2 national championships in 2008 and 2011. He's done a fantastic job with this program and turning it around in just 4 seasons, making it to the World Series. Let's take a look at his lineup today. We've got Casey Cooper leading the pack. Let's remember those 21 home runs last season, 83 RBIs. All the way in the 9 spot, Victoria Draper is going to hold it down in center field for them and turn over that lineup to get Casey Cooper more at-bats to lead them.
I don't know if you can call Oklahoma an underdog anymore. They're thinking of themselves as the underdog. I think in this situation, you know, neither of these teams anymore can be considered the underdog, especially since Oklahoma last year was so young, and now those players have more experience and a national championship under their belt.
Right, they do both look very different. Oklahoma only losing 2 players, but there is a target on their back. There always is. When you finish at the top, everyone wants a piece of you. And for Auburn to get an opportunity, first day of the season for a rematch, incredible. They've got to be so excited and just tearing at the bit to get out here.
And how special is this? Never, ever, since the World Series started in 1982, have the two teams for the national championship game faced each other in the first game of the year. So this is a really special occasion.
It is a special moment, so thank you guys so much for joining us. We're excited to be here. Taking a look, transfer from Missouri, Paige Lowry will take the mound for Oklahoma. Lowry, a dominant pitcher for Missouri last season. What can we see behind her defensively?
Well, you know, she's going to throw really hard. She's a lefty, so she's got that lefty curveball. And she's a tough competitor, got a lot of good experience at Missouri, and is a great addition to this Oklahoma squad.
Defensively, we've got center fielder Nicole Penley up the middle, Kelsey Arnold at shortstop. At second base, Kaylee Clifton, and behind the plate, Leah Wodak.
And take a look at Alyssa Dalton in left field. Coach called her very versatile, can play second base, shortstop, third base, and just a freshman getting the start out there in the outfield.
Nothing left to do but play now. Casey Cooper is going to lead it off for Auburn's first at-bat of the 2017 season.
This is a little bit of a different look, putting her right at the top of this lineup, leading off for Auburn, but they want her to see pitches. And, you know, I'd be worried about her seeing pitches too if I was Auburn.
And the first pitch is delivered for a ball low, and it gets away from Wodak. Yeah, often a little uncharacteristic for a leadoff to have that much power. It seems to be more common that your leadoff hitter can put the ball over the fence, but I mean, 21 home runs, you would think you'd see that in the middle. Lowry, as promised, bringing in the second pitch for a strike. Attacks a soft floater over to third base for the first out of the inning. Romero handles that no problem. Didn't look like she got all of that. A little floaty underneath that. Soft line drive. Soft line drive. Carly Wallace takes the first pitch, high for a ball. Two-oh.
Paige Lowry comes into this game with so much experience, playing in the SEC, playing against the toughest competition in the nation, won 10 games last year.
Absolutely, and in terms of coming in and stepping into a program like this, it's a national championship program, and to hear, hey, you're getting the ball first on opening day, you know, it's got to be exciting for her coming into a new program. Foul back.
And it's an opportunity for Oklahoma to give Auburn a little bit of a different look. You know, Auburn saw a lot of Paige Parker at the end of the year last year.
A lot.
So this has given them a little bit something different to look at.
And when we said she threw hard, we meant it. That last pitch clocked in at 67 miles an hour. Wallace staying alive, just getting rid of it.
And that'll be the task for the Auburn hitters. at least the first time through the lineup, or all day today really, is to catch up to that speed, especially the first game of the year when, you know, you haven't really seen a lot of that live pitching in a game situation.
Another foul ball on the right side. Absolutely, you're going to see them working really hard to find their timing. And with a pitcher who's throwing really hard, she's also got an off speed, by the way. That is going to be the #1 thing they need to do. So every hitter in the dugout that's waiting for their opportunity should be watching every single pitch that's thrown to get an idea of what they're going to see before they even get to the plate. Two. Lowry delivers. High for ball 3. Fouled back. Wallace getting freed up a little bit by that 3-2 count. Garland, what's that feel like as a hitter, battling, working yourself back to a full count versus a 1-2, 2-2?
It just gives you confidence, you know, and Wallace is doing a great job of fouling pitches off, and she's just waiting for a pitch in the zone that she can get a hold of.
Fouled back again. Wallace doing her job early on in the lineup, getting Lowry to throw a lot of pitches. That's the 10th pitch we've seen.
And the more pitches Lowry throws, the more comfortable everybody on that Auburn team gets with her pitching. So it's just a great at-bat by Wallace to start off the first inning.
Ball 4, so Wallace does her job, works the count, and finds a way to first base.
And just what a great at-bat. I mean, such a battle, fouling pitches off, getting rid of them, swinging at good pitches in the zone, close pitches, getting rid of them. I mean, just a great at-bat.
Right, and normally the hitters do look a little bit more uncomfortable than the pitchers. They weren't exactly confident swings, but that's what wasn't the purpose. She was just trying to fight. So great job just staying in it, working that count. Now we got a runner on 1 dead for Auburn. Lowry gets right back to it with a strike.
And Haley Fagan, we didn't see a lot of her last year. She only appeared in 14 games, and having her back and 100% healthy in the lineup has got to be a boost for Auburn. She's an incredible offensive threat.
One count to Fagan. All the way in the back of the box, giving herself more time for that speed. Big swing. 1-2 count.
If you look at Fagan's feet, you talk about her being back in the box, look at how her back foot is on that chalk. She's given herself some extra time to see the pitch because Lowry does have that speed.
Yeah, and the difference as far as reaction time goes, if I need that when someone's throwing as hard as Lowry is, it makes her throw the ball farther in terms of changing even her movement or setup or what her focal point is to still get that movement and stay in the zone at the same time.
Right off the bat, these Auburn hitters look like they have not missed a beat. You know, a lot of times the first game of the year, you can expect some jitters, you can expect timing to be off like we talked about and some mistakes, but man, they look like they're right on it.
Another foul ball. Absolutely, Fagan's doing her job battling, dugout seeing pitches. Lowry's having to work hard for every out that she's gonna get today. Yeah, we checked on that swing. Umpires decided she did not go, so Fagan gets another shot at it.
Smart, though, for Lowry to start mixing in that off-speed pitch, especially when it looks like Auburn is right on time with her hard stuff.
Ball 4, another walk for Auburn. Really, that's just grit, isn't it?
I mean, they're giving her a hard time, fouling off those pitches. And Lowry, I mean, it's hard to adjust when you've got hitters just freely swinging, and when Auburn's offense is so potent, you know, she doesn't want to give them anything too good because she knows what they can do offensively. And maybe right now, I think right now she's just being a little bit too perfect.
Right, and already having to show her changeup, which typically dominant pitchers will try to hold that off-speed off until they need it, but she's already had to pull it out just to make sure she's keeping them off balance, and that's because of their attack.
We talk about Auburn not looking like they've missed a beat. Well, Coach Myers told us that they really try to simulate game situations in practice. And we actually had the opportunity to watch them practice, and it is a well-oiled machine, so efficient. We saw live pitching, and he said it's really hard to teach experience, but they do the best they can. They have a large roster so that they can have practices like that without players getting tired and having base runners. So, you know, part of that could be why they're so well prepared in this situation.
And their support crew, like there was so many people working hard to train these players last night. It was really fun to watch. A lot of the locals that were just, you know, passerbys and people playing in the park actually stopped in to watch the practice. High and tight, the crowd doesn't like it.
They wanted that pitch.
They did. But we got a 2-2 count.
And this first inning is when Lowry has to throw pitches like this to see how far she's going to be able to go and still get the strike call. Because, like we said earlier, she doesn't want to give him anything too good. She's going to want to hit the corners, but what will the umpire give her?
And she goes down swinging for strike 3. Oklahoma with 2 outs. Auburn runners at first and second.
And this is a great pitch. Little bit off the plate, maybe, but just too good to take with 2 strikes.
Lowry changed speeds on that, and you could see it as Veach was trying to slow her swing down to find the ball. In that replay, you can see a lot more when you slow it down, so she recognized it, but it was too late. Her hands were already going. Fouled straight back for 1-1. Auburn waiting on first and second to see if they can capitalize in this first inning.
And this would be huge if they could play to run here and set the tone for this game and get out ahead.
Fouled down the left field line. Lowry way ahead in the count, and this frees her up to play with more pitches, and that's why it's important for both pitchers today getting ahead in the count. Liner up the middle, a diving second baseman. Auburn will come around to score 1 run. No chance at the plate, and Auburn strikes first. Shea coming through with a single.
And Shea does not get all of this pitch. She gets jammed up just a little bit, but enough to hit a line drive up the middle, and Clifton looked like she almost had it. It was moving slow enough that her timing was pretty good, but just barely missed it, and then some good base running from Wallace coming around to score the run.
I think we're going to see that all day. I mean, a fantastic effort on Clifton's part. She's laid out, even on a miss, it looks great. Like, the athleticism from both of these teams, even going back to their 3-game series, it was incredible to watch the hitting and the pitching and the defense, and we get more of that today. Just missed with that off speed. 1-1 to Jordan. straight back. Lowry ahead in the count. Misses upstairs. And she goes down swinging for strike 3, but Auburn gets away with 1 run. And Lowry getting the 3rd out of the inning, climbing the ladder, and getting Jordan to chase to finish out the inning. Coach Gasso excited to get her team up to bat. In her 23rd season at Oklahoma, she's got 3 national championships under her belt, 2000, 2013, and most recently 2016. She said Paige Parker's feeling great, but they're going to use her plenty this weekend and just wanted to give Auburn a different look. Let's take a look at her lineup. Shea Nitin, the young sophomore who was a star for them last year, will be sitting in the 4 spot.
And Sydney Romero, only 4 strikeouts in 211 at-bats. So she's a player that just finds a way to make contact, make something happen. She's one to look out for as well.
Martin taking the mound for the Auburn Tigers. Martin posting a 1.57 ERA last season with 64 Ks. Again, just giving him a different look this year.
Yeah, and she's going to throw down in the zone. Her drop is really her out pitch. She does a great job of keeping the ball in the park, and that's why she's so effective. But Auburn overall has a little bit of a different strategy with their pitchers. They pitch to contact, so they are trying to generate a ground ball as quickly as they can in an at-bat. So that's what we're going to see today. They're going to throw a lot of strikes. She's going to throw it down in the zone, and she's going to rely a lot on her defense to get those outs.
And right away we see her off speed, she shows us. Got to tied it up with a 1-1 count. You hear that term a lot in baseball, pitch to contact, pitch to contact. Not as much in softball, which, you know, honestly, a lot of stabs are trying to do that, but we don't talk about it as much. And honestly, you're always trying to get a great hitter to hit it where you want. You know, let's go back to Shea Nitin. How many strikeouts?
Or Romero.
Romero, excuse me.
4.
4 strikeouts and over 200 at-bats. I mean, she's going to put the ball in play, but can you get her to hit it where you want? That makes a huge difference if you can control that. Chopper up the middle. The Kraken not able to run it down.
And Clifton, a spark for this Oklahoma offense right away, just uses the ground, hits a ball hard into the ground, gets a favorable hop. Not a whole lot McCracken can do. She charges it as much as she can, but that's just a tough play to make. And even if she fields that ball cleanly, with the speed of Clifton, she might have been safe anyway. That's a tough throw to make when you're coming across the diamond.
Right, and if she sits back for it, the speed of Clifton, she wouldn't have time anyway, so she had to attack it. Dalton shows bunt, but pulls back. One 1-0 count to Dalton.
key, you know, we talk about Martin trying to generate ground balls, and that's what we saw in that first at bat. And the key for Oklahoma is to not try to do too much. Hit the ground balls. Hit the ground balls. Hit them hard. Find the holes. You can't try to do too much with a drop ball pitcher. That's when you get into trouble. Start popping them up. So they just have to continue to do what we just saw from Clifton and put the ball in play.
Yeah, and Coach Gasso talked about how dynamic their lineup is. They've got speed, they've got power, they've got contact hitters, so let that speed work for you. Runner goes, and she's called out for the first out of the inning, trying to sneak an extra base.
And Wallace is so quick behind the plate. She knows right away with that swing through that Clifton is taking off to second base. And Dalton did swing through the pitch, trying to protect the runner as much as she could. But Wallace, what a great throw, a great release behind the plate.
Yeah, I actually thought she was going to get there, but Wallace, again, it's more about quickness on your release point versus trying to throw it as hard as you can. It takes a lot of time when a catcher has a lot of movement and rears back to throw. When that's happening, the runner's running. So the quicker they can get rid of it, the better. Hard ground ball to third, and Cooper handles it easily for the second out. Taking a look at the defense behind Martin, Draper in center field, Haley Fagan up the middle, Casey McCracken at second, Veach playing first base, Whitney Jordan in right, Casey Cooper holding it down on the corner, Morgan Podani in left field. One-0 count to a view. Hard ground ball to first, and Veach handles it herself for the third out of the inning. So at the end of the first inning, Auburn strikes first, making it 1-0. We'll be back in the second inning with you in a moment. It did, thank you. The 2017 Puerto Vallarta College Challenge is brought to you by Triple Crown Sports. Treat your team right. Destination location, signature memories, professional staff. Get in the game at triplecrownsports.com. Not too shabby, is it, out here, Garland?
Oh, man, and what a cool facility, just in the middle of Puerto Vallarta. The community has really rallied around this facility, and when they're not playing college games here, they use it for slow pitch. They play their own games. I think they said around 85 teams will use this field throughout the year, and Triple Crown Sports has done such a good job of maintaining it and really renovating it to get it to this point. So it's just a beautiful location.
Auburn will see if they can strike again in the second inning. McCracken showed bunt for a hit first off. she stands in and takes that one for ball.
One thing about this Auburn lineup is there's just no breaks. When you're pitching to these hitters, it's just there are no breaks in this lineup.
No, and that's why they were playing in the World Series last season, 1 through 9. And they've got, they've got pinch hitters on the bench. They've got pinch runners and great pitching that's in the dugout right now. So they've got a lot of tools in their arsenal.
Well, they have such a large roster, and it really allows them to play towards the situation. So you'll see them change their lineup based on who's pitching or what they see defensively. So it really gives them the opportunity to do some different things that other teams might not be able to because they have that roster size and they have such incredible depth at every position.
One-two count. It's out and low for ball 2. Goes down swinging. Lowry for the first out. We're going to take a look at beautiful Puerto Vallarta. We got in yesterday, and I mean, the second I got off the plane, it was just such a good feel here. Really great atmosphere. Triple Crown's done a fantastic job of setting up this tournament for these teams. And, it's opening day. We've still got another 2 days of great softball ahead of us.
Well, this is an incredible tournament to start off the year. I mean, all teams are ranked or receiving votes at this tournament. Got number 1 Oklahoma, number 2 Auburn, Washington, number 9 BYU and Nebraska are both receiving votes. I mean, this is in a beautiful location, but some tough competition as well.
Yeah, this is not a warm-up weekend for any of these teams out here.
No, I make the point to say this is not a vacation.
Hard but foul. We've got Jessica down on the sidelines. Jessica, how's it going down there?
Good. You know, Paige Lowry has been a huge addition for the Sooners this season. Paige Parker has been relied on very heavily over the last 2 years to throw a bunch of innings. So I feel like they have a lot of depth at this position this year with a couple of freshmen that have been doing very well in preseason as well. You know, Coach Gassos talked about how the Sooner hitters have actually struggled to hit Paige Lowry in practices. So, you know, again, just a welcome addition for this team as well. Haven't had a pitcher that throws this hard since Kaylani Ricketts.
A hard fly ball over the head of Jordan for a double.
And just a great swing on a pitch on the outside part of the plate. She lets it get nice and deep, sends it opposite field. Over the head of Hatfield. Just a good piece of hitting.
So again, with Auburn having a runner in scoring position, they're already threatening this early in the game against a great pitcher.
And this is exactly the position that Auburn wants to be in here. You have the number 8 hitter, Podani, hitting a double. Now Draper from the left side of the plate can do a lot of different things. And then you have Cooper coming up. So with this kind of opportunity, runners potentially in scoring position for Cooper, this is exactly the kind of situation that they're looking for when they look at the bottom of their lineup and why they put Cooper in that leadoff spot.
And why Draper's at the end of the lineup. She had 325 on the season, and she's a lefty with speed. So typically you'd see a hitter like that towards the top, but he just loves the way she turns the lineup over. And, you know, pending any weird play here, we know Cooper's going to get a shot at this. Lowry with the 1-2 delivery, fouled back. Ground ball to third. It'll advance the runner, but Draper is out at 1. 2 outs for the Oklahoma Sooners as Cooper steps to the plate. Cooper, 21 home runs last season and 83 RBIs. Takes ball 1 down. Hard swing. Cooper already seeming to show a little bit better timing.
Yeah, you know, second time through the lineup, especially with hitters as good as these Auburn hitters, you can expect to see them making some adjustments.
Padani at third. Cooper at the plate. Hard foul ball back, and Lowry's evened up the count at 2-2.
You know, you can see Lowry's being very careful with Cooper, and rightfully so, but she's doing a good job of picking at the corners and getting Cooper to swing at some pitches that are right borderline on the corner of that plate. She doesn't want to leave anything too sweet over the middle of that plate.
Umpire checks, and they agree that she did not go.
And Cooper thinks about it, but holds up. Good call.
Yeah, I don't think she went around. I think she was able to control her barrel head. Hard fly ball to left, but it's going to land foul. Cooper getting into another shot. And again, these Auburn hitters making Lowry work for outs. Full count. I think that's the third full count we've seen already in the second inning.
Well, they just fight. I mean, 2 strikes, you see them fouling it off, fouling it off. They're just waiting for something in the zone that they can hit.
Lowry misses high for ball 4. So we've got runners at the corners now for Auburn, threatening again in the second inning. Wallace walked in her first at-bat. And the first pitch misses high and out for ball 1. Garland, you know, it was interesting talking with the coaches as well prior to this week, and, you know, so many of them said that they weren't sure about their lineups because there were so many battles going on. Like, what does that say about these teams, these programs who are here today? Hard ground ball to third. Romero eats it up for the third out and gets away unscathed by Oklahoma. So, we're at the middle of the second inning. Auburn threatened, but wasn't able to cross another run.
Because 2 years ago is when we all committed to this, so I don't think we all knew how it was going to shake out, but to have this quality teams is pretty tremendous. I don't know if we are all quite ready for it, but let the games begin, and it's a great opportunity to showcase our sport.
We're here back in the bottom of the second inning, Auburn leading Oklahoma 1-0. And I mean, we got kind of the grand tour yesterday of this place and the facilities and talking with the coach, and it's just an amazing experience.
Yeah, and not to mention the competition here. Like Coach Gasso was saying, they had no idea 2 years ago that they were going to have the #1 and 2 ranked teams in the country, not to mention #9 in Washington, and then BYU and Nebraska receiving votes in the poll. I mean, they're no slouches either, so this is a really tough field and a tough opening weekend for these teams. All 5 of the teams here won at least 1 game in the regionals last year. That's how good these teams are. All of them in the postseason, all of them winning games in the postseason.
Well, and the reaction by all the coaches is a testament to how well they've done with their programs. They were all excited for the opportunity to have that be their opening weekend. See that off-speed foul down the right field line. Nitin trying to get things going for the Sooners. Nitin with a full count to work with. Trying to be that lead off for this inning. See that off-speed ground ball to second base. Plenty of time for that first out.
The key for the Sooners today will be to force Martin to make sure that she's throwing her drop ball up in the zone. That is a strike. So if they are going to hit ground balls, that's what Martin does, finding the holes in the defense and then making her throw that somewhere in the zone that they can hit. Martin last year generated 198 ground balls compared to only 69 pop flies. Just an incredible pitch to contact pitcher. And it's a testament also to Auburn's defense working so hard behind her and being able to make those plays, and Martin having so much trust in them that she says, hey, I'm just going to throw this ball in here. You guys, little ground ball, you guys take care of it. And it obviously worked very well for them last year, and that's what we anticipate to see from them this year as well.
Hard chopper up the middle again to McCracken for the second out. And that's what we're seeing on display right now. I mean, it's that pitch to contact philosophy, putting that trust in their pitching staff to hit their spots, but as well as their defense to do their jobs behind her, and so far they're doing that. Count to Penley. Nicole Penley playing center field, one of the returners for this Oklahoma lineup. I think you guys might be familiar with her sister. Who's now playing in the Pro League.
Yeah, Shelby Penley was an incredible athlete as well. She was a 3-time All-American in Oklahoma, 2013 through 2015.
And the 0-2, high outside. Penley with great speed from the left side as well. Just misses outside corner. Martin delivering the 2-2 pitch. High fly ball to center field. Draper looks to be underneath it, and she is for the 3rd out of the inning. We're going to take a break and be right back. It is the end of the 2nd inning. Auburn leading Oklahoma 1-0. Back in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, bringing you opening day of the NCAA Division I softball season. We are in the top of the 3rd inning, and Auburn is leading Oklahoma 1-0. It's a rematch from last year's national championship game, where these two teams just, Garland, it was like a display of a testament to our sport. It was so much fun to watch both of them.
Just incredible games. That World Series, I'll never forget watching it. Oklahoma wins the first game, game 1, 3-2. Auburn wins game 2 in 8 innings, 11-7. And then Oklahoma took that last game 2-1. And Oklahoma is only the 3rd program to win 3 or more national championships next to UCLA and Arizona.
And we get them on day 1.
I know.
Lucky Ducks.
Never happened.
Hard line drive, but just foul the right field line.
And we talked about that game too. Emily Carasoni coming up big for Auburn, getting a walk-off hit to win that game 2 for Auburn and setting the series even.
Fagan, hard ground ball to first. Nitin with plenty of time. Veach has had 1 at-bat today. Started with a strikeout. We talked about these hitters in the Auburn dugout. Very good at making adjustments quickly. Oh, 1 to the batter. And Veach takes for ball number 1. Beach able to hold up on that off speed in the dirt.
You know, Lowry seems to really have settled in and is working at a better pace. And even that ball in the dirt makes Auburn think about it.
Well, it's changing speeds, even if it's not a strike, if it's out of the zone, it's changing what the hitter sees in terms of how fast that pitch is coming in. So when you're able to take off 7, 10, 12 miles an hour from pitch to pitch and then crank it back up, it becomes very difficult for Auburn to get comfortable in the box. Hard fly ball to center field. Finley going back, and it's over. Auburn strikes again with a home run from Beach. Auburn coming out attacking. I don't think they've...
Lowry puts this pitch over the middle of that plate. It is down in the zone. Beach does a great job of taking her hands to that pitch and staying through it long enough to get some air underneath it so that it can leave the park. And just a line drive straight out of the park. No chance for Penley to bring that one back in.
No, and I don't know if Auburn forgot about last year's series, but they came in here and I feel like they are already on a mission. And I don't know if it has to do with Oklahoma or not, but they are on a mission. And it starts today. It started 3 months ago in training. And we were able to talk to Coach Myers about that as well and how they train. And even their players, they describe their practices as intense. Fun but intense because they're always moving.
Well, the emphasis in their practice is on creating these types of game-like situations so that when they get to this game, this first game of the year, they haven't missed a beat. And it's really tough to do that. It's tough to simulate these kind of situations, but Auburn, from the first pitch of this game, has just looked ready to go.
Shea working her second at-bat. 2-1 count, the delivery. Catches the outside corner. Lowry evening it up at 2-2. See Lowry working to paint the corners, like hard pitch to lay off of. The discipline's also really fun to watch already for Auburn, not facing another team, but they're really, you don't see them chasing a lot. And that's ball 4, putting yet another Auburn runner on base.
And Lowry's already thrown over 75 pitches in the third inning. And that's just a testament to these Auburn hitters, like you said, being so disciplined at the plate, but not letting a lot of good pitches go by either. They're swinging at pitches in the zone, laying off ones out of the zone. They're really making Lowry work.
Big swing from Jordan. I like.
They're getting Mariah Lopez warm in the bullpen.
Well, Coach Gasso has other weapons in her arsenal. Paige Parker's also in there. But again, it was talking with the coaches like, well, they think that we might, and so we're going to. It was almost this cat and mouse game before anyone ever even got here. Lowry working ahead in the count. 1-2. Shows that off speed. 2-2 count.
And this is what we see a lot of. Lowry gets ahead in the count, but then Auburn doesn't swing at the junk that she throws. And all of a sudden the count evens back up. And we've seen that a lot in the Auburn at-bats.
It's great discipline. Hard chopper to third. She looks to second, but shoots to first for the out. The runner does advance, so Auburn has a runner in scoring position. Pinch runner in for Auburn, Bree Fornes, sophomore from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And there's those weapons we talked about, Garland. Clint Myers dipping into the to the trough over there, picking out one of his speedsters.
And I think it says a lot too with 2 outs. It says a lot about the faith he has in the bottom of his lineup. You know, putting in a pinch runner, giving her an opportunity to score with the bottom of his lineup coming up, hoping that they're gonna make something happen and potentially play another run.
Hard swing and a miss on the first pitch. The Kraken struck out on her first at-bat. The 0-1 pitch from Lowry. And that's upstairs. 1-1. So again, Lowry getting ahead, putting herself in a good position here with 2 outs. And taking for ball 2. Good speed at second for Auburn. The delivery. Big swing, and that'll do it. And Veach strikes again for the Auburn Tigers, driving a solo home run, making it 2-0 Auburn, Oklahoma.
Good. Oh, really? Yeah. This is a pretty fast game though, too. Well, is it? Yeah. Pretty yeah. How are things going on your end? Things are moving now, right? You guys are like, easy.
traveling very well down to Puerto Vallarta. We've got a great crowd on hand today. A lot of the local community has come out as well to see these two teams go at each other. We're in the bottom of the third inning. Auburn leading 2-0.
That's one of the great things about this location is that it's just in the heart of Puerto Vallarta, and the community has really rallied around this facility and love seeing these athletes perform. So we do see incredible support from this community.
And that's taken for strike one. Yeah, everybody's been so welcoming and friendly. The weather's fantastic. The atmosphere is great. Triple Crown has done so much work in bringing this facility along and getting these teams to come in here and really put on a show of what they do. Fouled off, that evens it up at 2-2. Hard shot down the right field line, but just foul. Oklahoma trying to get something going right here. Hard fly ball to right, a little bit of sun, but Jordan handles it no problem for the first out of the inning. Gasso taking in a lot of her returners. Again, a relatively young team. Ground ball to second. Cracking, handles it no problem for the second out.
Still a young team, but with great experience. You know, last year, Oklahoma was known for just being so young. You know, everybody talked about how young they were, and then they find themselves winning a national championship. And now, still relatively a young squad, but just with incredible experience.
Well, and two of their stars last year, three, were freshmen with Nitin, Romero, and Paige Parker. So they had to grow up fast, but they did so in awesome fashion by taking home a 2016 championship. Little dribbler, but foul down the left field line.
They don't have a single senior in their starting lineup. That's how young that Oklahoma team still is. But have played alongside the best. They know how to win. They know what it takes to get to a national championship game.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that. I mean, it's surprising to me, but it doesn't feel that way.
Right, and that's like, you know, they still consider themselves an underdog, and I don't know if they can still call themselves underdogs anymore.
Short ground ball to second. McCracken handles it for the third out. So Auburn retires the side in order. We'll be right back. Auburn still leading 2-0, looking to add to it in the bottom of the third.
That was Arnold. That just grounded out. So we're at the
the 4th inning. Auburn is leading Oklahoma 2-0. Jessica, how's it going down there on the sidelines?
Doing great, and even better now because I have Triple Crown CEO and the event coordinator of this event with me, Dave King. Well, let's go back to the beginning. How did you guys come up with the idea to have this kind of tournament here in Puerto Vallarta?
Well, we've had events here before, an adult slow pitch, and we brought some colleges down here and had them take a look at this. Gordon Eakins at BYU came the first time, and they kind of fell in love with the atmosphere and the ambiance and said, let's do it. So we started it.
Yeah, how unique is this? I mean, you're right here in the middle of downtown. You're right across the beach right across the street from the beach. It's just a really cool setting.
Well, the ability to walk and never get on a bus for a team is real special. And then we actually sit in the Mexican community, which is, we've been here for 26 years. We helped build this field and the lights that are here, and it's just been a great relationship with this community.
You guys put a lot of work into making this field playable for these teams. Kind of walk us through what all you guys had to do to get this ballpark ready.
Well, the majority of the fences were reconstructed, and then we put a new portable fencing system in it, which you see out there that sprung real well on the home run where she trampolined off. Bo Dennison was responsible for that design. And then we put in new Musco lighting in here, which got us to night level MLB quality, new batting cages in the outfield, and then just a number of improvements in the stadium itself.
So you've got number 1, you've got number 2, you've got 3 ranked teams, everybody receiving votes to be ranked. How did you manage to accumulate this type of field?
Lucky. You know, when you recruit a couple years out, it's kind of like, yeah, and then one I thought last year at the CWS, hey, this might be our matchup day 1, and then bang, we had it, and then they're all good teams, and then the next 2 years are filled with really good teams. I mean, not got every spot taken for 18 or 19 yet, but close with teams like Texas and Oregon and Ole Miss and in the field Tennessee. Ralph, if you're watching out there, shout out to you. Georgia, some really good clubs that are coming down. So we hope to do this as an annual event down here as far as television. But this is kind of a second home to me. I love the community. My best friend Chino Perez runs the field maintenance guy, so it's really neat.
Dave, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for having us. We're certainly enjoying it. And you got some great ball clubs and great games coming up.
Okay, thank you. We're real excited, so enjoy it.
All right, Nicole, we'll send it back up to you.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Jess. And if you, we might catch him on camera, but Dave takes pride in dragging the field as well. He's been hands-on with all parts of this event, and it really is just fantastic to be a part of it. If you weren't watching that entire interview, Podani's been up to bat. So again, Auburn showing their battle, their fight. And another foul ball back.
We talk about what an incredible experience this is for the players, but it's also a really great experience for this Mexican community. And the players actually do some community outreach while they're here. That Triple Crown helps coordinate for them, and they do a clinic with some of the local kids and teach them softball and play with them, and just a cool experience.
Podani goes down swinging, but not after putting up a great fight for the first out. Yeah, that school's actually right behind us. We, got a nice tour yesterday, walked around a few of the blocks around the area, and, all the kids were in there playing. And Tuesday, a couple teams put on a camp. I think Washington is doing it tomorrow. And just, really just jumping in. Since we're here for a week, let's be a part of this culture for the week.
And Triple Crown put this event together and made this field what it is, the facility what it is, but this community will use this field as well when they're not down here playing tournaments. Something like 85 different teams will utilize this field for slow pitch, for softball, for baseball, for different things. So, Triple Crown will run some first-class events like we're seeing here, but also give back to the community in that way so that they can use this facility as well.
0-2 to Draper, just outside. Draper, known for her speed, very consistent with contact. Hit .325 last season. And goes down on that last pitch. That I mean, Lori might have brought that in, what, like a fingertip?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good-looking pitch. This is that lefty curve. Too good to take with 2 strikes. It's right on the corner, borderline. Could have been called her ball or strike, but with 2 strikes, you've got to be swinging that pitch.
And that's what Lori needs to do. Lowry literally threw the pitch right before that, maybe a half a ball outside. Hard fly ball to left field. Just outside of the fence. Dalton going hard for that.
Dalton gets a good jump on the ball. Almost. I mean, she almost ran through that fence.
Cooper drawing a walk in her second at-bat.
And this is the tough situation that Lowry is in. It's a fine line between throwing strikes, generating outs, and leaving anything too good over the plate, you know? So she's really trying to pick at the corners, which has generated some walks and not worked in her favor at times, but she just can't afford to leave anything over the plate with these Auburn hitters.
No, and that's where Auburn did capitalize that first inning. Again, Cooper drawing another walk with that discipline. You know, it's always great to see. She's obviously a powerful hitter, 21 home runs, 83 RBIs, but to have the maturity and understanding that people are going to pitch around you. I mean, last season she had 71 base on balls.
Yeah, 71 walks. I mean,
it's incredible.
Well, that's what makes her a great hitter, is that she takes the walk. She knows to take the walk when that's what they're giving her. And I don't blame them for walking her, you know? I arguably the most feared hitter in the country. You know, like, take the bat out of her hands.
And that's what puts Wallace in an interesting position. She's got to work to make teams think twice about just giving Cooper a free base.
And that's where her position in this lineup becomes so important. She has to protect Cooper. If Wallace can come out swinging and hitting the ball well, Cooper will ultimately see many more pitches.
Wallace taking one off the helmet. It seems to be okay.
Lowry's trying to come in on the hands of Wallace with that lefty curve. This one just gets away from her. Catches Wallace. Fortunately, it looks like it hit her mostly in the helmet, in that cage. But man, that Lowry throws pretty hard. That can really shake you up.
Yeah, as much as I like saying if I'm going to get hit, I don't mind getting hit in the helmet, it still rattles you. And remember how hard Lowry is throwing. We gunned her in the first, and she had hit 67 miles an hour.
And now in a situation with runners in scoring position with Fagan coming up to bat, I mean, it just seems like one after the other, you know? But Fagan herself is an incredible offensive threat. She was injured last year. She had a knee injury, so we only saw her in 14 games. But we did see her, despite the injury, make a huge impact in the postseason for Auburn offensively.
It's really difficult to do after that. So, you know, as she was going through her recovery and probably seeing pitches, even if she couldn't even swing, just to make sure that when she got the green light, she was able to contribute, and that's exactly what she did.
Well, it's a testament to her work ethic. You're absolutely right. Just being able to put in the work and come back this time of the year 100% and contribute and start right away, it's just, it's impressive.
She takes the first strike.
And you have to believe that the Auburn staff is pleased to have her back in the lineup.
Once again, Auburn with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Hard hit to right, but just foul. Fagan continuing to adjust her timing. Read pitches, anticipate. Remember, this is Lowry's first appearance in an Oklahoma jersey. And the runners advance on pitch. It just gets away from Wodak. Hard chopper up the middle. Right to short. Does she have time? Just in time. Arnold throws out Fagan for the 3rd out. We're in the middle of the 4th. Auburn still leading Oklahoma 2-0. We'll be right back.
We're going to be up at that camera right there.
Okay, well, I'll give it my best.
Welcome back to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico in a season opener rematch of the national championship game. Auburn leading Oklahoma 2-0, standing by with Auburn head coach Clint Myers. Coach Michaela Martin gave up the lead-off single there in the first inning, since no hits. What do you need to see from her to continue to have success and keep these OU hitters at bay now that she's seen them for the 2nd time around?
Yeah, she's doing a great job out there. You know, don't change the game plan. Her and Corey are on the same page, so if she can keep making her pitches, it's good for us.
You guys are obviously very familiar with Paige Parker. Hadn't seen Paige Lowry. How have your hitters been able to find success against her early?
Well, Paige was from Missouri, so the older players do know her. So I mean, again, they got a great pitching staff. They got a great coaching staff. So we just got to go out and execute.
Coach, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Jess. I mean, so we were just kind of looking over the break, and it doesn't feel like it, but there's only 4 hits total between both of these teams.
And you know, Lowry has 7 strikeouts. It's not a bad day. Oklahoma, they have no runs on the board, but have no strikeouts. So their offense is putting the ball in play and making the defense work, but that's Auburn's game plan. That's what they do. That's what they want them to do. So Oklahoma has to find a way to find some holes in this defense.
Right, and we're at the top of the lineup again. Everybody's going to get a second look at her, and we'll see what adjustments they make.
You see, that take right there is exactly what this Oklahoma offense has to do. That ball is down in the zone. You know, looks
pitch.
good, a good pitch looks good, but that's the one they have to lay off of. They've got to make Martin bring the ball up in the zone so that they can start hitting more line drives and less ground balls.
There's that off speed again, just trying to mess with those hitters' eyes and their timing, making sure they don't get too comfortable in there. Behind in the count, 3-0. Hoping to work her way back and get that first out of the inning. Just misses low. Oklahoma getting that first run on the board. Or, excuse me, first runner up. Garland, how'd that pitch look to you?
It was a tough call. I mean, it was a tough call, but I mean, she was taken.
It's a good pitch.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. You can't put it over the middle of the plate with these teams. 3-0 count, 1-1, 0-2, it doesn't matter. So, you know, Martin trying to paint the corners and just barely misses.
Of the 3-0 swing. I actually think that's a pretty good take. Looking at it from that angle, I mean, we got a 3-0. That thing's got to be waist high, right up the middle.
Taken for strike 2. Dalton down in the count early. Oklahoma with their leadoff runner aboard. Chopper to first, and it goes just foul. So Dalton will get another shot at it.
This is going to be an important opportunity for Oklahoma to get some runs on the board with their leadoff runner on first base. Top of the lineup, middle of the lineup coming up. This is when they want to capitalize on that walk. The beginning of this inning.
Well, even a productive out would be big at this point. Getting someone into scoring position with less than 2 outs. Chopper up the middle to Fagan. Fagan flips it, gets that lead out.
A little bit surprised that we didn't see a bunt from the number 2 hitter in the lineup from Dalton. I would expect, you know, like you said, trying to move that runner over. But a pretty routine play for Fagan up the middle.
Yeah, it was so close to second. She could have taken it herself to see if she could get that lead out, just taking off a little bit of time for that transfer. One of 3 Coach Myers on staffs out to talk with his pitcher. It's a family business for both of these teams.
It is. That's right. 3 Myers and 2 Gassos.
JT in charge of the offense for Oklahoma and talking with Patty about his role and having her son in the dugout. She said it does present its challenges at times. There's still that mother-son relationship that, you know, she said, we don't always talk to each other like boss and assistant coach. But she wouldn't change it for the world. She loves that he's been a part of it. He was a grad assistant in 2013 when they won a national championship.
And Coach Myers said something similar. He said, we don't always agree. But, you know, it's a lot of fun to go to work every day with your family and have all your family there in the same place. And he said, you know, they submit lineups, and a lot of times they're all different. but they can leave work at work and still be family when they get home.
Fale Aviu hoping to contribute her second time around. Her first at bat, she grounded out to first base. Again, going back to Oklahoma's putting the ball in play. They've just got to find that timing and hit balls a little bit harder, staying through and making Martin elevate. Hard hit to left field. Kodani right on it though, and the runner can't advance. Everything just happens too quickly.
And this is what Oklahoma needs to continue to do. That ball is a little bit up in the zone, which gives her an opportunity to hit a line drive, and she does a good job of getting her barrel out to the outside part of the plate, hits that ball hard, but unfortunately right at Kodani in left field.
Nitin with a 1-0 count, one of their stars last year, hitting .397 on the season.
I mean, when do you have a freshman that leads the team in batting average, home run, RBIs, and slugging percentage?
And not just any team, the 2016 national champions. It's incredible. So there's a lot of promise ahead for these Oklahoma Sooners if they continue to work together and stay on the same page. And Gasso's excited. She's excited to see what this group can do over the course of their career. Okay. Nitin with a hitter's count, 2-1. Runner at first for Oklahoma. And takes ball 3.
First 3 innings, lots of ground ball outs, and in this inning, 2 walks. So this is a situation where Oklahoma has to capitalize on some of those mistakes.
Got a pinch runner that's coming in for Nitin. Is just a freshman. He's going to do running for Nitin, which is a little atypical. I know Nitin's coming off of an injury she sustained in the field. Coach Gasso is making sure she gives herself an opportunity with every runner they get on base, because every runner in this matchup is precious. Chopper to second. We'll take it to first for the last out of the inning. At the break, we're going to visit with Patty Gasso. When we return, it's the end of the 4th, and we'll start the 5th.
Season number 23 is underway for Oklahoma head coach Patty Gasso. Her Sooners trailing 2-0 here as we enter the 5th inning. Coach had 2 runners on there at the end of that inning, and how do you get some runs on the board?
Good question. I think Martin's doing a great job. We're not staying in our legs. We have not made very good adjustments. We're trying to force things. That's not a swing that Sid's accustomed to, so we just got to do some things different. I think Lowry's doing a good job for her first outing, and everything else is in order. We just got to keep our legs with our swings.
I was going to ask you about Paige Lowry. In her first outing as a Sooner, she gave up the home run, but got herself out of some situations. Overall, how would you evaluate how she's doing?
Fine. I think I don't care about the home run. I care about the base on balls, which she's working on, so I think she's doing a great job. And I want to shout out to my dad. Dad, I love you, and just get better.
Coach, thanks. Nicole.
Thanks, Coach. Well, I thought, that's Patty in true form. She's watching every little piece of this game and not trying to blame anything or, really isolate one specific incident. This is still a teaching environment, and that's not going to stop. These guys are preparing this entire season for postseason.
Well, and I like what she said. I agree. Lowry is not having a bad outing. I mean, Auburn's only scored 2 runs with that kind of offense. You expect them to score runs. And she said, I don't care about the home run. It's the balls. The walks, those are mistakes. Those are freebies. At least make them earn it. And Lowry, 7 strikeouts. I mean, just throwing a good game.
She's doing her job for these Sooners. Speaking of home runs, we've got Veach up, who hit that solo shot.
Veach in her last at bat took a pitch, elevated in the zone, over the fence. Henley tried to bring it back in, but it was too far gone.
She goes down on strikes looking on the outside corner.
Veach, a home run in her second at bat, but Lowry comes back with a pitch on the outside corner. Gets her looking.
Top of the 5th, 2-0 Auburn. 1-1 count to Shea, seeing if she can't contribute to the Auburn offense. Having a great day so far. First at bat with a single. Her last at bat, she ended up on base with a walk. Fouled out of play. Chopper to first. Nitin will take it herself. That's 2 outs. Got to see Nitin's older sister play this morning. All-American MJ Nitin. The game did not go probably how Nebraska planned it to go. BYU taking them down 12-1 in 5 innings. taking to make it 2-1. Big swing from Jordan.
Remember last year we talked about Fagan being out with a knee injury, and Jordan really stepped up and held down that shortstop position while Fagan was out. Has since moved back to the outfield, but Coach Myers told us has really worked on her offense and has gotten a lot better.
And she fouls that one off. Remember, early on in this game, it was battle, battle, battle. What we're seeing, Lowry getting ahead early, and then we'd see Auburn work themselves into those walks. It wasn't a 4-pitch walk. I don't think we've only seen one of those. Big swing and a miss for strike 3. And that'll do it for the side for the Auburn Tigers. Auburn still leading 2-0. We're in the middle of the 5th inning, and we'll be right back.
Man, this game's kind of boring.
Yeah, I like.
Pitchers duel. Weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
8 Ks. Oh, you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yeah. My legs are asleep.
I know, like my hamstrings hurt. Kraken will be next. So much to do here in beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for all the fans and friends that came down to watch the opening weekend of NCAA softball. We are here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Auburn actually leading the reigning 2016 World Series champions, Oklahoma. And Garland, what have we seen so far today? I'm surprised.
I'm the most surprised that Oklahoma has not been able to make adjustments at the plate. And we heard Coach Gasso herself say they're not staying in their legs. They're just trying to do too much.
Garland luckily breaks the curse for the Oklahoma Sooners, and Penley comes up with a single to right field.
And we did see, too, last inning in the 4th, they had an opportunity to plate some runs. 2 runners on, 2 runners left on base. So this will be important for them to capitalize on this hit from Penley. Attacks early in the count, gets a pitch up in the zone that she can handle, and gets on base.
You know, at this point in the game, Coach Gasso is known for being aggressive. You know, we saw 2 squeezes in a row during the World Series. We may see her run here, we may not. Every base runner is precious, every out is precious. So she's got to weigh the factors in that, but we're in the 5th inning.
And they're not hitting well. You know, it's one thing if they're getting a lot of hits and their offense is being very productive, but they might try to do something different here to try to push a run across.
Shows bunt, but pulls back. But called for a strike with a 1-1 count. Hatfield's going to do everything she can to manufacture something. I mean, a hit's always great, but those aren't coming easy today. So any way to get that runner into scoring position, she's willing to do. Martin continuing to get ahead in the count. Just outside. That evens it up at 2-2. Got the leadoff runner on. Hatfield working to move that runner. Get something going for these Sooners. Hard chopper up the middle. Martin grabs it, gets the lead out, and just barely misses a double play. But Martin, great job of getting that lead out and being aggressive.
And here we see another ball off speed, down in the zone, another ground ball, and a nice play, and just barely safe at first. Fagan thought they had it. Good play, great play.
One out. Wodak will take a shot at it.
You see Wodak and some of these hitters still in the back of the box. With a pitcher like Martin, who's throwing drop balls and isn't throwing incredibly hard, I'd consider moving up in the box. You know, they're having a hard time recognizing the drop balls that are higher in the zone. If they move up in the box, they can catch them before they break and potentially square up a little bit more on some of those pitches.
Shows bunt but foul. Yeah, with a good drop ball pitcher, you have two options. You can move to the front of the box with the intention to hit and drive the ball, or you can move to the back of the box and the intention changes. It's being patient and possibly drawing a few walks, and Shea Nitin had drawn a walk, and some of those pitches were really close, but the officials got his zone established, so they're trying to work that in their favor. Right on the hands of Wodak, she fights it off. Martin mishandles it a little bit, still has time at first, but the runner does advance.
And a good play from Martin to stick with this ball and get the out. And again, another ground ball out.
So pitching to contact is the game plan, and the game plan is working so far. Martin's the closest one to the play, so she does have the most time should she field a ground ball. So even with that bobble, she had plenty of time to recover and still get the out.
And even Coach Gasso said they're just trying to force things and they're not making adjustments. And, you know, it does look like they're trying to do a little bit too much.
Arnold showing bunt for the entire time the pitcher's getting her sign, so typically you'll see a batter pull back in that situation. So again, trying to be sneaky, I think, or a little tricky for the defense to try to read her hands.
Yeah, and Arnold has some speed, just trying to put the ball on the ground and beat something out. The key here is for her to reach safely so that they can turn this lineup over with runners in scoring position.
Martin ahead in the count, 0-2. Just gets a piece of it to stay alive. And again, you see Martin just painting the corners, painting, not giving him anything good to hit over the plate.
It's interesting, with Arnold up to bat, we've seen so many low in the zones, but Arnold, a slap hitter, she's actually thrown a couple up in the zone. She doesn't want to give Arnold the opportunity to actually hit something on the ground because with her speed, she's likely to be safe.
And that can make pitchers so effective to be able to almost change themselves a little bit. So the drop ball's working against all the big hitters. Oh, I've got speed. I don't want her to necessarily use this hard infield to chop one up the middle or for a single. Shot right to second base, and McCracken handles it easily. So Oklahoma in scoring position, but can't get a run across the board. We'll be back here at the top of the 6th inning. Auburn leads 2-0.
Else to settle a young club. She's going to be a nominee for a Rhodes Scholar. I mean, she's got great intellect. She's a student of the game. She's a tremendous athlete. I mean, you know, those are accolades that, you know, everybody says simply because all you have to do is watch her play. What the intangibles that she brings is the leadership and the calmness and everything else to settle a young club.
You know, it's so easy to forget when the only time we see these student athletes is on the field, but a lot of these guys are, you know, missing school to be here and having to prep for that ahead of time and work with their professors and make sure they stay on top of everything. I actually checked in yesterday, and I was in the middle of the Auburn Tigers checking in, and I was next to Casey Cooper, and she was standing there with her glasses on, and she looked like a student. It was like, oh yeah, that's right, these guys are college athletes, and you know, it's amazing what they can balance. Oh, a quick first out. McCracken goes down swinging.
And Lowry's 9th strikeout up in the zone. Nice rise ball, rises up over the bat of McCracken, and she can't handle that pitch up in the zone. And Lowry continues to look more settled in the circle. You know, to go back to talking about these student athletes, you have to take into consideration how much they travel this time of year. You know, these teams are missing in 3 days a week in some cases of school, and it's tough to stay on top of that. And they have to find a way to study while they're on the road. You know, and get some help or tutors or whatever it is to make sure they're staying up with those things. And it can be a challenge, and you have to tip your hat to all of these student athletes for being able to balance the academics and the athletics that come with being a Division I athlete.
Liner in right field. Jordan does a great job of cutting it off. Gets her at 2. Hatfield with the throw in time.
And a nice hit from Podani. Looks like it's gonna hit the gap, but how about Hatfield cutting that off and just a rocket right on the money to get the out at second base, and Arnold puts the tag on. An incredible play.
You know,
Danny has some wheels. I mean, that, you know, it's not a base running mistake. It's just a great play by Hatfield in the outfield.
Yeah, I love the aggressiveness. It was a soft floater right in kind of no man's land, so it's giving her time to run as that ball's traveling. And I love the push for two. It's making that outfielder be perfect. And in this case, she happened to be perfect, coming up with a strike to second base. That throws anywhere else, she's safe.
Just an all-around good play. Arnold laying the tag down. It was just a great, nice play. And that's a momentum changer. You know, in this game, Auburn's had a lot of the momentum at different times. The only one plating runs, and in that situation, you know, those are the kind of big plays that can really change the momentum in favor of one team or another.
Chopper right back to Lowry. Not in time to get the speedy Draper, who has arrived safely at first base.
And again, this is why they have Draper in this position, to turn that lineup over so that they can get to Cooper to get on base, so that when Cooper is up to bat, she has runners to hit in. But Draper does a great job of using the field. The field is relatively hard, so it gives a good bounce if you hit it hard enough into the ground. And that high bounce is what gives her the time to make it safely to first base.
Right, it's to the pitcher, it's close. Oh. Draper doesn't see that in time, but the ball got away from the catcher. So Cooper's already drawn 2 walks today. It'll be interesting to see if Oklahoma decides to pitch to her and challenge her. Cooper with great discipline at the plate, taking that pitch for a 2-0 count. Jess, how's it looking down there in the 6th inning?
Hey, this is fun. I'm having a blast. I hope you guys are too. You know, a little bit more on Casey Cooper. She was a member of Team USA this summer, and she said she learned so much that it was like she went from a freshman to a senior in a summer. That's how much she took away from that experience. She said, you know, I learned how to deal with being in different roles. It's hard coming off the bench and getting put in a pinch hit situation. When I went to Japan, I didn't get a hit, so I have a better understanding of how everyone's role works together as a team, and what it gave me was a new tool that I can use heading into my senior year, that I can help everyone else on this team and be a great leader for this team.
Thanks, Jess. And I think it also, you know, it's got to help her understand and appreciate, you know, there's 26 people on this roster, Garland, and 2 of them are redshirting, but and everybody has to play their role and do their part.
Another thing you have to consider is she's playing all summer long.
Hard blooper over to left, just falls in. Draper makes it all the way to third. Cooper pushing for second, and she gets in there safely. So Auburn again threatening. Cooper delivering. Runners at second and third.
And the second that Cooper makes contact with this pitch, she is gone. Look at the hustle as she sees that ball hit the ground. She rounds the base, hesitates for a second, able to make it safely to second base. Good base running.
So with all the attention at Draper at third base, she was able to get in there to second. So Auburn again has 2 runners in scoring position. Oklahoma has 2 outs. Anything in the infield should go to 1.
When you think about Cooper playing on the USA national team, she's playing all summer. Not a lot of girls that played college softball are playing during the summer. So it really gives her an advantage. She comes in the fall having seen a lot of pitches, having seen a lot of live hitting, playing in these really, really elite games with the USA team gives Auburn an advantage.
Fly ball to right. Hatfield going back. And And she makes the play for the 3rd out of the inning. And after that catch by Hatfield, we'll see the fantastic play she made at second base. We're back in Puerto Vallarta, where the national championship team, Oklahoma Sooners, is going to try to work their way back into this game where Auburn's leading it 2-0.
Same thing to them now. And it's time to make adjustments here.
Time for Oklahoma to get the bats going, it's now. Late in the game, in the 6th inning, with their leadoff hitter up to bat.
It's not a bad place to be in terms of working your way back in, and again, it doesn't feel like it, but it's only 2-0. That means the tying run is standing on deck right now for Oklahoma if they can get something started with Clifton.
And they haven't done a great job of making adjustments off of Martin throughout the game. And now the 3rd time through the lineup. Let's see if they can force her to bring some pitches up in the zone that they can square up on.
Clifton doing a great job so far with a 2-0 count. Just misses with that pitch, making it a 3-1 hitters count. Garland, how important is it at this point in the game for this leadoff specifically? There's no outs for this leadoff to find a way on base.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all about momentum. So the leadoff hitter getting on base obviously gives more opportunities for more hitters in the lineup to make something happen, but you know, it's about a spark plug to get this offense going.
Chopper up the middle to Fagan. Fagan in time to get the lead out. And who do we see going out to the bullpen? No one else but Paige Parker. We saw a lot of her in the 2016 postseason. Unbelievable work ethic and stamina this kid had to have in order to lead them to a national championship.
You know, I'd actually be surprised if we see her in this game. Lowry's been throwing very well this game. Has held Auburn to 2 runs and just a handful of hits. I'd be surprised if they bring her in and show her in this game.
Well, and it could be if Coach Gasso's thinking positively, like, hey, if we get a lead here, we may bring a totally different look in and a great look in to close them down. So she wants her to be ready if the offense for Oklahoma gets going and puts them in that position. Shows bunt, lays it down. Cooper bobbles it. And Dalton bunting for a single to get a runner on board for the Sooners.
And a good charge, but just loses her grip on that ball or can't make the transfer to make the throw. And Dalton is just an athlete and does a great job of getting down the line. And sometimes when you're not hitting well, it's just about making something happen, doing something different. And Dalton does a great job in that situation of giving her team a chance late in the game in the 6th inning to play to run.
Aviu with a line drive to left. Last time 4 and out. Dalton being able to lay down a bunt in that situation or hit away, the more a hitter can do, the harder they are to defend, especially for the corners. I think she may have caught Cooper sleeping a little bit right there.
Yeah, you know, with no runners on base in that situation, you wouldn't necessarily be expecting a bunt. You know, we haven't seen Oklahoma play a lot of short game today. You know, they've had opportunities to bunt where they've opted to hit. So just a little bit of a different look. And a conference in the circle to talk about how they're going to throw to review.
And although Martin's been dominant on the mound, it's a 2-0 ball game. So the tying run is at the plate right now in Aviu.
You know, what I love about Martin is that she doesn't have a strikeout this whole game. She's just done a great job of putting the ball on the ground, letting her defense work. She's only thrown 84 pitches. And then you look at Lowry, who's thrown well over 100 pitches and has 9 strikeouts. So, you know, just 2 totally different looks. Martin is pitching to contact, trying to get him to hit early in the count. And Lowry's more of a strikeout pitcher.
Runner goes, but it's a foul ball. That's really just buying into the system. That's
right.
You know, we're talking to these coaches, and it sounds great, but then to actually see it put into play, it's like, oh, that's what you guys are talking about. Right now, she's throwing a shutout game with no strikeouts. Speaks volumes to their defense as well. Aviu battling with 2 strikes on her. See the changeup? Pops one through the hole on the shortstop side. First and second for the Sooners. Nothing too fancy about that. She just goes with the pitch.
And I like how Aviu, this is a changeup, and you see her get over her front foot a little bit, but then let her hands lag behind and still keeps her weight from flying all the way forward. I mean, it's just a great example of a great adjustment in the middle of a pitch. She realizes that she's early and then is able to slow everything down and still get the barrel on that changeup. And not easy to do.
No, we're talking about everything's happening in a half of a second, and that's exactly what we saw. That was perfect. We saw her make an adjustment in the middle of an at-bat. Her legs are gone, but her hands are still back behind her because she hasn't committed them yet, and that's all she needed. And she didn't smoke that ball necessarily. She just went with the pitch and didn't try to do too much.
And this is exactly where Oklahoma wants to be right now. 6th inning. They've got their big hitter up to bat with runner in scoring position.
Oklahoma's put in a pinch runner to get a little bit more speed with the tying run. Reagan Rogers is now at first base running for Aviu. Nitin stepping to the plate to see if she can capitalize.
13 home runs last year, batting nearly 400. This is the hitter. that you want up to bat in this situation.
Staying disciplined at the plate. And all those numbers we just heard, she did that as a freshman. It'll be fun to watch this player throughout her career here at Oklahoma. Shows bunt but pulls back. And you never know with Coach Gasso. Again, she called 2 back-to-back squeezes in the World Series last year, both effective. As much as I'd like to say no way she's going to bunt Shea Nitin,
I was just about to say the same thing.
Chopper up the middle of the second. She'll tag the runner. And in time at first, and Auburn gets themselves out of a jam quickly. McCracken with a fantastic play to get out of that inning. When we come back, we'll see that play over again when we come back from break. We're going to be in the top of the 7th in Puerto Vallarta. Am I doing it?
You can bring it back, and I'll talk about the play. Is that the play? That's the double
play?
Who fielded that ball? Oh, no. It was McCracken?
McCracken. And here's another look how he ended the 6th inning.
And Shea Nitin, the big hitter for the Sooners, up to bat, ground ball to McCracken, heads up play to tag the runner, and then also get the out at first base. A double play to end the inning and shut down Oklahoma's hopes of plating some runs in that inning.
Yeah, and just when you thought the momentum was on their side, the defense again comes up big behind Martin. Fagan going to lead off Auburn, trying to add to their lead. Takes the ball high to even up the count 1-1. Hard hit down the left field line, but just foul. And there's the adjustments we were watching these hitters make throughout the game. Again, Lowry, she's throwing very well, but she's having to work to get these hitters out, every single one of them, every single at-bat. Fagan goes down with a check swing.
What a great pitch from Lowry. This ball down in the zone, right at the knees. It's a good looking pitch.
Jess, we're here in the 7th inning. How's it going down there?
Good. Oklahoma pitching coach Melissa Lombardi has become well known across the country for just how great of a pitching coach that she is. You know, she developed such a great relationship with her pitchers. Paige Parker has said it's like we share the same brain, but it's not just her pitchers, it's her catchers too. Leah Wodak as well just feels like she thinks she knows already what coach is going to call. She's thinking, this is what I would do, and then sure enough, that's what Coach Lombardi ends up calling. And Coach Lombardi says it's like a chess match during inter-squad scrimmages when Leah's up to bat, because she knows what Leah knows what Coach Lombardi would call in certain situations, so she always has to go around and play a game of chess with Leah. But again, great working relationships between the catchers and pitchers with Coach Lombardi, who, by the way, was a catcher for Coach Gasso at the University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was interesting talking to Patty about their relationship. Lombardi's been there 20 seasons now, and before she hired her, she said, I need a pitching coach. Hard fly ball to right center field, and it's gone. Auburn adds to their lead with a solo shot.
And how about Veach? Her second home run of this game, first game of the year. Wow.
Yeah, she came in ready to play today. And, you know, honestly, we're spending a lot of time on Cooper, Martin, but Veach absolutely kind of stealing the show offensively for these guys, getting into her at-bats. She even had a strikeout on the day and didn't let that affect her with 2 home runs.
And Lowry left that pitch just a little too sweet, up in the zone, and that is well out of this park. And you know, this game has been somewhat of a pitcher's duel, which was a rather unexpected, but Auburn has kept the pressure on Oklahoma. You know, a run in the first, a run in the third, and now in the 7th, plating another run and, you know, extending their lead.
And that's what you want to see from your offense. You want to see them scoring early and late, and they've done that. Not a ton, but they capitalized in the first inning, again in later innings, and to see them do it in the 7th inning, to stick one more insurance run on the board is huge against Oklahoma's lineup, who isn't too shabby either. Shea staying disciplined, 2-1 count. Lowry continuing to have to work to get these hitters to chase anything outside of the zone.
You know, the first game of the year, a rematch from the 2016 World Series championship. And looking at these teams, I've got to tell you, I'd be shocked if either of these teams weren't back playing in the World Series in 2017.
I agree. It honestly feels like we just picked up where we left off. Chopper to second. Just in time. Clifton gets it over to first. It's a hard infield today. What is that? Does that change the game plan a little bit for either of these teams as far as their attack goes?
Well, I think for certain players it might. You know, that you have your lefties who can certainly use the field to their advantage and generate some high hops. It makes the defense have to work a little bit harder when they have those high hops. Gives an opportunity to those runners, but you know, in certain situations, absolutely.
So we've got a pinch hitter in Cameron Greenwood from Birmingham, Alabama, just a freshman. Again, Clint Myers really using these early games to give his young players some opportunities. And she comes out swinging. I love to see that. That's where, you know, freshmen, yes, are considered inexperienced, but they're also usually very fearless when they come in the door.
Well, and that's what you want to see from a pinch hitter. You're putting them in there to hit. So I like that. I like that coming out, being aggressive as a pinch hitter coming into the game.
back. Evens up the count 1-1. Lowry with the delivery. Off-speed taken for ball 2. And that pitch marks the 160th pitch that Lowry has thrown in this game. That feels like it's going quickly.
And it really is a testament to the Auburn hitters being very disciplined, not swinging at a lot of balls.
Chopper, right off the plate. Oklahoma showing some of their experience in playing that ball incredibly smart. They would have had no shot at that play.
No shot. And that's the, I mean, you talk about the hard ground and giving an advantage to some of the hitters. That's an example of where you can just knock the ball into the ground, get one of those high hops, and make it easily, safely to first base. So a smart play to let that one go foul.
Almost the exact same thing, only it goes backwards this time. So Wodak calling off Romero on that, holding her back. Romero, a very aggressive third baseman, but just has the wherewithal to know, like, no way, let's let that go and let the foul lines work for us. And Greenwood goes down for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before Auburn adds a 3rd home run, the 3rd run with her 2nd home run. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 7th. Oklahoma trying to take back their crown. The 2017 Puerto Vallarta College Challenge is brought to you by Triple Crown Sports. Treat your team right. Destination location, signature memories, professional staff. Get in the game at triplecrownsports.com. So we're back with the Sooners. Last shot at getting back into this game. Romero just showing bunt, barely fouled it off. They'll do whatever it takes to get on base at this point and try to generate some runs. Chopper up the middle. Fagan gets there, but does not have enough time to throw out the speedy Romero. So the leadoff for the Sooners finds a way on base, giving them hope. Jess, down to you.
Well, that's exactly what Coach Gassa wanted to see out of her hitters here in this 7th inning. She wanted to see some bite, wanted to see everybody get up there and fight as hard as they could to get on base and chip away at it one at a time.
I mean, that's what you have to do in these situations, just continue to swing the bat. And, you know, they have had a hard time making adjustments, but Romero does a good job of finding a hole, and that's really what they have to do. Hit the ball hard, find those holes in the infield, and continue to hit the ball.
And Penley with one of the few hits Oklahoma has on the board today. She singled to right field last time up, so Oklahoma in a good position. It's where they want to be in terms of trying to generate some runs. Shot to left field for another base hit. Oklahoma with runners at first and second, no outs in the bottom of the 7th.
Oklahoma showing some life. They're not going to go down easy. And what I love about this is Martin gets this pitch up in the zone, which we have not seen a lot of, and Penley takes advantage of that. They've struggled with that pitch low in the zone. Penley takes her hands to that pitch up in the zone. And
it's out of the strike zone.
It's way out of the strike zone, but it's a pitch that they haven't seen a lot this game, and they haven't been successful on that pitch low in the zone, and she does a good job of taking that ball and getting her barrel on it.
Great hands, great battle. So Oklahoma putting themselves in a position to take this game over. Runners at first and second base. Hatfield up to bat. Taking the first pitch for ball 1. And Garland, what can we expect to see here if we had to guess? Are we going to use an out to move runners over with a bunt? Is she going to let her swing away? You know, it's like with Coach Gasso, we can kind of guess whatever because she's that unpredictable.
I mean, I'd let her swing down 3 in this situation in the 7th inning. I'd let her swing and see if they can't play to run here.
Hatfield shows bunt, fouls it back. See, that's what we get for
guessing. I say let her swing, and she shows bunt. But you know,
maybe Coach Gasso didn't get your text message. Martin, even in the count, has done a great job controlling this offense all the way up to this point. Again, there's runners on base. It's still a shutout game for her. She's got to continue doing what she's been doing all game, is hit her spot and let her defense work behind her. Hatfield puts down the bunt to move the runners, and they'll get the out at first in time, but the runners are now both in scoring position at second and third base for the Sooners. 1 out.
And a very well executed sacrifice bunt. And in this situation, you know, I maybe would have let her swing away. You know, those 2 runs don't matter. Those aren't the ones that win the game. It's the run at the plate that matters. But, you know, it was great execution. Now a lot easier to plate some runs.
Well, and I like seeing hitters being able, she actually fouled the first sac bunt off and didn't get it down. Got a pinch hitter coming in now. Vanessa Takayo from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Another freshman. So again, both teams trying to work in their young players and just get them some experience. Garland, how about this spot for freshman's first at-bat of the 2017 season?
I mean, it's just such trust and such faith in her players. And Takiaho with some power gives them an opportunity to make something happen here and plate some runs and get them back in this game in the 7th inning.
The first pitch misses high and out for Martin. I'm expecting Martin to come out and attack a freshman first at-bat of her college career, first at-bat of the season, first at-bat of the game for her. And she takes for 1 out. Martin continuing to work with Coach Myers in the dugout on the pitch calling. Like Clint said, it seems that they're been on the same page the whole day, which is what you want to see. Just misses outside. See if she can get Vanessa to chase.
Well, Takiaho looks pretty calm and collected in the batter's box. You might expect a freshman in this situation to have some nerves, but she looks very composed.
Hard hit right up the middle. That'll score 1 run. Oklahoma sending the second, and that will claim her to tie this ball game up. Holy cow! The freshman Takiaho comes through for the Oklahoma Sooners.
And talk about clutch. I mean, Takiaho put in this difficult situation as a freshman, her first at bat ever, and she takes a pitch, doesn't try to do too much, which is easy to do in this type of situation, and just knocks it hard right back up the middle. And you know, I did say maybe I wouldn't have sacrificed bunted in that situation, but right now they're in a very good situation, having just plated 2 runs and with Arnold up to bat.
Takiaho coming back in the dugout. We'll see a pinch runner, but a huge congratulations from her team for coming through. Man, what a great first at bat for her. Auburn's going to make a change as well. We had heard that from Coach Myers saying we'll work as a staff as necessary. With this, stay tuned while Auburn makes this change. We'll take a break and be right back in the bottom of the 7th. We're back in Puerto Vallarta, and Oklahoma and Auburn did not disappoint. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning, 3-2 ball game. Oklahoma just scored those 2 runs. Runner on first base, and forcing Auburn to make a pitching change. So we've got Kaylee Carlson on the mound. Carlson threw 130 pitches for this Auburn staff last year, posting a 2.36 ERA. Now, both sides of these pitching bullpens have great people just waiting in the wings for their opportunity. And I agree with the change. I'm glad Auburn made that adjustment.
And this is a much different look. You know, we saw a lot of drop balls from Martin, generating those ground balls. And Carlson's game is a rise ball. So we're going to see more up in the zone and could keep these hitters off balance or try to confuse them a little bit in this situation.
Arnold just making sure everybody's on the same page, getting the sign from Coach Gasso. Showing bunt very early. And pulls back, taking the first pitch for ball 1. Attempts there, throw down, not in time. Just seeing if they can get that runner leaning a little bit too much. Arnold hit the ball well last time she was up to second base, but right at McCracken.
if you take a look at the Auburn defense, you can see they're playing Arnold very shallow. They're all moved in.
They're respecting that speed from Arnold that she's already shown today.
They're trying to get that out. They need this out with the lineup turning over.
Carlson delivers. She goes down looking on the outside corner. Auburn bouncing right back with Carlson leading the way.
How about Carlson coming into this game in the 7th inning and just what a great pitch on that outside corner. Definitely too good to take. It looked like it was right on that corner, and Carlson coming into a tough situation and doing a great job to get her first out in this game.
Bottom of the 7th, Auburn leading at 3-2. Oklahoma's got a runner on first base. Clifton's going to see what she can do to help the cause. Taken for a ball out and low. Any chance we see some movement on the bases now, Garland? I see Coach Gasso giving signs.
I would say no, but I've been.
Maybe if you
I
say no,
I don't have a great
happen.
track record this game.
Very, very close pitch. It's a pitcher's pitch right on the corner, but nothing doing with a 3-0 count now to Clifton.
And Clifton is very patient. She led the team in walks last year and hit batters and on base percentage. Does a good job of finding a way on base.
And that's who you want in your leadoff spot. She takes the 3-0 for a 3-1 count. Auburn has an opportunity for an out at second or at first base. And from what we've seen so far, that'll help them because it's a hard infield. We've seen a lot of high choppers today on this. Oklahoma with speed at the plate and on base. Big swing from Clifton, putting us at a full count. It's like we're back in Oklahoma City. Bottom of the 7th, 3-2. Oklahoma, Auburn, 2 outs, full count, runner at 1.
You just have to admire how both of these teams are fighting. They have fought this whole game. Oklahoma not going down in the 7th inning, plating a couple of runs.
Foul ball out of play. Clifton doing the best she can to stay alive and get a pitch she wants to hit. Again, with that 3-2 count, just frees hitters up a little bit. 2-2 and 3-2 feel so different. And Auburn hangs on to win their season opener against the defending national champion Sooners, 3-2.
Well, man, you have to tip your hat to this Auburn team. They came out from the very beginning so strong, not only offensively, really battling, but defensively so strong behind Martin, who generates a lot of ground balls. And Carlson coming in late in the game, getting the strikeout. And Oklahoma showed some fight at the end, but just weren't able to make adjustments early enough in the game to give themselves a chance. And this is the kind of game that you would expect to see from the #1 and #2 ranked teams in the country.
And that we'll most likely see them again in the postseason in 2017. For Garland Cooper, Jessica Cootie, I'm Nicole Trimboli saying so long from Puerto Vallarta, where the final score is 3-2 Auburn. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.